Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I figured that since point 12 is dropping sometime between soon and soon that we could do a video that would possibly help out any new or returning players. These 10 tips and tricks might even benefit some veteran players too, as this list isn't something trivial like wear better armor or use the best ammo. And while those are important tips, I tried to compile 10 that might not be so obvious. These are in no particular order by the way, so without further ado, let's get started. Number 1. The grenade dive bomb. If you've watched any of my live streams, you've probably seen me do this before, but the basic concept is, if you know an enemy is on the other side of something from you, like a wall, you can chuck a grenade almost straight up in the air, but at a slight angle, so that way it goes up and back down on the other side. If you do this with an F1 frag grenade, which has the shortest fuse time by the way, it will explode before it even hits the ground, completely catching your opponent off guard as he won't have time to react. Number 2. Avoid bushes at all costs. There are two things in this game that are exceptionally loud: crawling while prone and rustling bushes. Bushes can be heard from a great distance and will almost certainly alert any nearby enemies to your presence. I'll often be inside the shoreline resort and be able to pinpoint an enemy's location outside just because they ran through a bush. Here's an instance of me being inside the customs dorm in my inventory and knowing where an enemy is because he hit a bush. Bushes are so bad for your game. Adjusting your gamma. I'm not talking about your gamma container either. I'm talking about the gamma that brightens your game. If you're using an NVIDIA graphics card, you can right-click on your desktop and click on NVIDIA Control Panel. Navigate to Adjust Desktop Color Settings and click on Use NVIDIA Settings. Here you can up your gamma so the dark corners of rooms aren't so dimly lit. You can also adjust digital vibrance to add more color to your game. We NVIDIA users also have access to GeForce overlays, which you can use to instantly change your gamma to quickly adapt to the current environment. Number 4. Using flashlights to tactically push. When pushing an enemy inside of a building or hallway, I like to have a flashlight equipped so I can blind them and make it harder for them to snap to vulnerable body parts like my head or thorax. Keep in mind this will not fool every enemy, but I feel it will definitely give you a leg up on most. Also be aware the light will alert your enemies of your direction and location when rounding corners. Just be confident in the push, and I think you'd be surprised how much this works. The flashlight will also give you an indicator as to where your gun is pointing, increasing the accuracy of your hipfire game. This actually brings us to our next tip. Number 5. Hipfire is extremely viable in EFT. When I first started playing Escape from Tarkov, I was actually unaware of how accurate hipfire was. I was coming off of games like Call of Duty and PUBG where hipfire spray is almost laughable. It wasn't until I watched the Tarkov streamer Kings hipfire and kill several people in the Shoreline Resort that I realized how good it really was. Oftentimes, I find it almost easier for me to hipfire than to actually aim, especially in close combat. With enough practice, hipfire can become a deadly weapon in your arsenal. Number 6. Painkiller tactics. There are two parts to this one. First off, you should know morphine is the fastest painkiller in EFT, meaning it takes the least amount of time to use. Mid-fight, the quickness of morphine can mean the difference between life and death. Second, I recommend always keeping a good multi-use painkiller like Golden Star in your secured container. If you know you're about to enter a dangerous situation, you can pre-pop your extra painkiller, so if you happen to lose your legs mid-fight, you can still have full mobility. Number 7. The combat reload. This one is very straightforward. Instead of tapping the R key once to reload your gun, you can double tap R to perform a combat reload, which will get the new mag in faster at the expense of dropping the empty one on the ground. I've actually been in situations where me and the enemy both have to reload at the same time, and I beat him to the draw using a combat reload. You can easily pick up the empty mag off the ground after the engagement's over, so there's really no excuse not to do this. Number 8. Adjusting crouch height. Have you ever found yourself taking cover behind something only to find you're too exposed standing and can't see anything crouching? You can actually adjust your crouch height by holding C and scrolling up or down on your mouse wheel. This can put you in a better position when holding angles and really open up your options when it comes to taking cover. Number 9. Go prone when spraying at an enemy. This is obviously situational and won't be an option 100% of the time, but this especially works if you have sight of an enemy that doesn't know you're there yet. While prone, even a baby AK gets a drastic reduction to recoil, making it easier to take down targets at distance, even with no modifications to your gun and while using low quality ammo. Number 10, the Mosin Rush. I'll do this when there's an enemy close by with a bolt action, such as a Mosin, and I'm not sure of his exact location. I find that moving too slowly in the face of a Mosin will get you killed, so I'll actually rush out in a zigzag pattern trying to get the enemy to give up his location by missing a shot on me. Once I have a general idea of where he is, I'll continue to push him until he's in my line of sight and proceed accordingly. Alright guys, that brings us to the end of the list. If there's a tactic I didn't mention, feel free to drop it in the comments below, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Good luck in the raids, and I'll see you next time.